full disclosure, I did everything. I only realized today that says, what if the Earth was twice as big? And I read it as, what if the Earth got twice as big? So mine has some, I focus more on the act of the Earth getting bigger. So my first question was, at what rate can the Earth expand without just tearing itself apart horribly?
Yeah, that's probably going to happen.
Yeah. So plate tectonics, they don't move very fast. And when they do move a little bit, it's horrible. But it wasn't actually as bad as I thought, because when plates are moving constantly, it's actually a little bit better for earthquakes and things. So the way earthquakes work is that you have these two plates stuck together, and one wants to move due to some forces somewhere. It gets caught on the other wall of the fault line, and it builds up tension against that, and when it finally slips and cracks is when you get that earthquake vibration. So actually, if the plate's in constant motion, it's actually not earthquakes all the time. So in fact, actually the Pacific Plate, which is over by California with the San Andreas Fault, actually moves constantly at a rate of about 2 inches a year.
And they're fine. There's no destruction over there.
Well, there's some earthquakes, but only occasionally. So basically, the way I did this is that I was like, okay, if you have a magnitude 10 quake, the Earth can handle it. The biggest quake on record is not only a 9.5, and 10 is actually a bit more than that because it's a logarithmic scale. So I was saying, how much could the Earth move? How fast could it expand and not trigger more than a magnitude 10 earthquake?
So what's your mechanism for the Earth getting bigger? Is it just the mass in the core is expanding or something? Or it's gaining mass?
Yeah, so basically it's just gaining mass and expand, the plates are expanding. Everything's just getting bigger.
Okay.
And so I kind of counted the rate of expansion as movement.
Okay, so the Earth's crust is getting bigger too.
Yeah, the Earth's crust is getting bigger to match. So it's not going to be there's giant gaps forming between the existing tectonic plates. They're all getting bigger.
Okay.
So it's all based on the size of the fault line. So I took the largest fault, which is the Sunda Megathrust in the Indian Ocean, which is a fucking awesome name.
That is an awesome name.
It's an excellent name.
This fault line is 5,500 kilometers long and 100 kilometers deep. This was also the site of a 9.3 magnitude earthquake. So if we keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, we're going to get, double the length, double the depth, double everything. But actually, the maximum earthquake from this fault line naturally would be actually just a straight magnitude 10. So this largest earthquake you can have is limited by the size of the fault. And even if you double the size, you can still only get a magnitude 10 earthquake. So once everything's said and done, we'll be okay.
Okay. Will we, though?
So here's the kicker. The world is expanding, so it's going to be creating a lot of extra energy besides just regular earthquake mechanics. So I figured the amount of energy from a magnitude 10 earthquake is 12 trillion joules of energy, which is the equivalent of 60 of the world's largest nuclear bombs exploding at once.
Okay, that's pretty big.
It's pretty big, but it's over a big area. It's a lot of energy. So based on that and through a bunch of hoops and math, I found out that the largest plate could expand at a rate of 0.2 miles per hour. So for radially outwards. And with that rate, it could expand over the course of 2 years without going over a magnitude 10 quake.
So this whole process will take 2 years.
Right. If it takes shorter than 2 years, the Earth is fucked.
Okay.
And that's good news, I guess.
Still doesn't sound that great.
Yeah, there's going to be some other bad things happening at the same time.
I can think of some other stuff, but I'll let you continue.
Some bad things. There's going to be close to magnitude 10 earthquakes all over the place all the time. That's going to be bad.
Doesn't seem great.
So I'm just assumed that all volcanoes will be erupting at the same time. They're not going to stay dormant. So along with that, you get loads of acid rain. You get another ice age. You get 10 years of total darkness as the sun is blocked out by all the volcanic ash. We're not going to survive that very well. Again, that's kind of a longer term problem. Shorter term problems include when the Earth is twice as big, gravity effectively doubles for everything on the surface. So a lot of animals and plants are just going to collapse under their own weight.
Including us?
I think humans would be okay. But our biggest problem is our heart pumping blood through our bodies. And we can do it, but we're gonna have to like lay down a lot and really not try to stand up too often, and we're probably just not gonna live for super, super long. And then a lot of us are gonna die pretty much immediately because things that don't like their weight doubled include, buildings, bridges, infrastructure, anything we designed to stand up under its own weight,
I mean, the 2 times the gravity, that's after the whole thing is done, right? But
Right.
while because we're all moving outwards, you said 2 miles per hour?
0.2 miles per hour.
0.2 miles per hour.
And that's not exactly, we're not gonna be moving 2.2 miles an hour, like, upwards. It's gonna be, like, kinda sideways, and it's, like, over the whole plate, the whole tectonic plate. So we probably wouldn't actually feel the expansion over the magnitude 10 earthquakes that are happening.
Right, exactly. Aside from the magnitude 10 earthquakes that are a direct result, we probably would not feel it very much.
So those are all very big problems that are going to kill us. The other thing I think that is going to kill us, which I like the best, is the Earth is twice as big. And so I said the gravity is doubled on the surface. But it's actually only works that way because the mass of the Earth is times 8, and we're twice as far away, so it, divides it by 4. But the mass of the Earth is increased by 8 times, which is only problematic for our friend the Moon. So if the Earth is 8 times as massive, the force pulling the Moon towards the Earth is 8 times what it is right now.
Right, if the moon stays in its same spot.
Right. And so right now the Moon orbits the Earth at 2,200 miles an hour relative to the surface. And that perfectly counteracts the gravitational force. If you increase that attraction by 8 times, we have a total of 2.5 days to figure out the Moon problem before it crashes into the Earth.
That's plenty of time.
So break out your Majora's Mask game, because you have just not quite enough time to beat it before the Moon lands in that game.
That game was pretty accurate.
I don't know if the Moon's going to get an angry face, but it might as well get it. So if we want to save ourselves from the Moon, we have to make the Moon go just under 3 times as fast to get a stable orbit. So based on the mass of the Moon, to increase its speed to what we need it, we would need to add 257 octillion joules of energy to the Moon to increase its momentum up to that speed.
How many nuclear bombs is that?
Well, the largest nuclear bomb, the Tsar Bomba, can explode with 50 megatons of force. So if you convert megatons, which is millions of tons of TNT. So it explodes with the force of 50 million tons of TNT. It's actually only 210 quadrillion joules. And if you take all the nuclear bombs and throw them all at once, you get about 100 times that number, so you get 27 quintillion joules. So that's, 5 magnitudes of 1,000, compared to octillion, which is 8.
So we're nowhere close still.
Yeah, if we launch all our nukes at the Moon and get all the energy, like we make a big dish, I guess, and transfer all the energy of the nukes to motion to the Moon, we have increased the Moon up from 2,200 miles an hour to 2,200.001 miles per hour.
Progress!
How many days does that add?
That adds no days. It'd be pretty. It'd be a pretty explosion.
You'd probably destroy the moon.
Honestly, I don't even know. Moon's bigger than I thought it was. Like, that's a pretty crazy number. And also, if we destroy the Moon, it doesn't help us any. If the Moon explodes like that, all the stars are still going to hit us. It doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah, that's just a bunch of little pieces hitting us.
I guess that's technically better.
Yeah, haven't you seen the movie Armageddon? It'll just split completely in half and miss the Earth.
Yeah, both halves will just split around the Earth and go their separate ways and hit Venus, I guess, which will be fine.
Yeah.
Not our problem.
Not our problem at all.
We have bigger problems than Venus.
Yeah, there's a lot of very big problems with the Earth being big. So, Earth big problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I could not think of a way to make the Moon faster, or make the Moon fast enough, or, really I couldn't fix any of these problems. We're just fucked, guys. We're just fucked.
That's usually what Ben says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to keep my optimism here. I thought I would solve it with nuclear weapons, but it really was not even fucking close.